We have learned now the Jets have said bye-bye to their general manager, the owner, Woody Johnson, firing Joe Douglas after 5+ seasons of ineptitude in Jersey. So Joe Douglas is out. Someone named Phil Savage, sounds like a TV anchor in Toledo. Phil Savage, who was an advisor, some show up, get paid to do nothing job for the Jets, he has been named the interim GM, and what a track record he has. At one point, he was the GM of the Cleveland Browns. You don't remember that because can you name any GM of the Cleveland Browns? No, you can't because they blow. Anyway, a lot of moving parts to this story, but let us discuss. The obvious question when someone of profile, I don't know that high profile, but we know who this guy is. When someone loses their job, we ask the question, where did Joe Douglas go wrong in his reign of terror with the Jets? So I've got ponies, spinach, and laryngitis. And we will tie all of these things together, and we are going to make potatoes au gratin is what we're going to make. Why not? Holidays coming up here, potatoes au gratin. So, the Jets, say it with me now, sucked at a time you cannot suck. Now, that would be on Thursdays, Sundays, and Mondays. It is a results-based profession, but aren't all jobs result-based? I guess if you have a government job, it's not really results-based, but I know the job I have is results-based, and I would assume the job you have is results-based. It just happens we're talking about pro football. Under Joe Douglas, the Jets took the field for 94 games since 2019 when he took over. They lost 64 of the 94 games while he was the GM. That is at the near the very bottom. It's not the worst, but when your neighbors are Jacksonville and Carolina, that's not the good side of the tracks, if you know what I'm saying, right? You're on the wrong side of the tracks. Things are not going well. It's high crime, a lot of pollution. People, put trash all over the streets. They don't take pride in their community. That's the side of the tracks that the Jets are on with Jacksonville and Carolina. But if you break it down even further, because that's what we do here in overnight talk radio, what happened is Joe Douglas made a mistake. It's because of the ponies. He bet on the wrong horses. And as we learned somewhere along the way, maybe you learn this when you're young, maybe you learn it when you're older, but it's a life, the game of life or anything involving life and jobs and whatnot is a series of choices. The choices that you make today will affect the ones that you make tomorrow. It's kind of how that works. And so Joe Douglas made the choice that motivational speaker Robert Saleh would be a good head coach and that aging Aaron Rodgers would have been a wonderful addition to the New York Jets. And it turns out that Robert Saleh could not coach his way out of a wet paper bag. If you gave him a flashlight, a knife, and a map, he'd have no chance. And Rodgers has been getting a bunch of downloads. In fact, here's the problem. He's been better at getting downloads on podcast interviews with like Joe Rogan than touchdowns for the Jets. It's rather disturbing if you're the Jets. Now, page 2 here. What does this Jets Joe Douglas firing signify to you? So this is one of those things where it is a trip to the confessional is what it is. They make a movie, and these guys all talk a good game, and they give you the rhetoric and the runaround. But it's moments like this. These are moments of clarity in the fog. We can see through it all. We have X-ray vision now. So the owner, Woody Johnson, put his neck out and had said on more than one occasion that this Jets roster in 2024, the year of our Lord, the Jets roster, the best that he has had as in his run as owner of the Jets, 25 years, generation. Woody Johnson said this is the top roster he's had. So he fired Robert Saleh, the motivational speaker. The team responded. Since then, they have gone 1-5. Now, I didn't play in the NFL, but I think that sucks. And so Woody Johnson decided to go, Popeye the Sailor Man. Woody ate some spinach. He told Joe Douglas, that's all I can stand. I can't stand no more. It's time to remove the bright green asbestos and get it out of here. So he got out the sponge and went scrub-a-dub-dub. And this is what's known as a factory reset, something that happens every couple of years. My entire life with the Jets, every couple of years this kind of thing happens. And so the job is fully open. If they want to hire a GM coach combo, a package deal to run the Jets, that's available. And Joe Douglas has worked for a bunch of teams, and he's going to get paid. And it's a lot different when you have a situation like this where you get paid out. We can goof on people like this because Joe Douglas will get paid in full, and he'll get another good job somewhere, either in media or on television, in television media, or somewhere in the NFL as a scout or a consultant or something like that. One of those gigs where you get paid a fair amount of money and you don't have a lot of responsibility and you just kind of show up and get paid with not too much going on. Now, the last word here. Now we get down to the meat of the matter. How much of the blame for the debacle in Jersey falls on the shoulders of Aaron Rodgers for the Jets' demise? So I would advise Rodgers to go down and buy some nice honey mustard sauce, nice dipping sauce, to help the medicine go down. Rodgers, if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, he was billed as a front man for essentially an off-Broadway musical. And that's where the Jets are. Over in Jersey, they're an off-Broadway musical. And Rodgers was the lead vocalist. He ended up getting laryngitis. And when you get older, and you see this in the music game, singers, performers get older, and once the voice goes, it doesn't return. Right? You got to do a lot of steroids and other things to try to get it come back. But try as he might, Aaron Rodgers simply cannot hold a note, at least not the kind of a note that he once held playing at Lambeau Field. It has not left Wisconsin to New Jersey. The entire time he has been in the cockpit, Aaron Rodgers' voice has been phlegmy, it's been raspy, and he's under contract for next season, technically next season. Rodgers is part of the Jets, but none of that salary is guaranteed. And as you and I know, and that lamppost over to the side of the road knows, that makes you a duck, but not Donald Duck. How about a lame duck? You change the GM, you change the coach, you're going to change the quarterback. It's the three pillars of the NFL. So I will be the first to ask the question, where does Aaron Rodgers land in 2025? So retirement is an option. However, we suspect that he wants to get that foul taste out of his mouth from what has happened this year. So he's going to want to play. He's going to want to go out there and play one more season at least. So which teams would be interested in Rodgers? So just using the old crystal ball and putting together Maller's big board, which is not a list. It's just a big board. So if you look at the big board based on my analysis from the crystal ball, the Indianapolis Colts are high up on that list. I would also say among the other options, the Titans, the Seahawks, the Raiders, and the Saints. Those are all possible. Now, Jim Irsay is such a loose cannon as owner in Indy, and Anthony Richardson, unless Anthony Richardson has 5-6 more games like he did on Sunday, which is highly unlikely, and start stringing good performers together, the Horseshoes will be interested in adding a quarterback. And so Aaron Rodgers is a stopgap option. The Seattle football team doesn't have a quarterback. They're the headless Seahawks there. Geno Smith is a bum, so they could easily replace him. And we know that Aaron Rodgers has land in Tennessee, and the Titans don't have a quarterback. Will Levis is garbage. The Raiders also, much to my disappointment, because I'm a Gardner Minshew fan, Minshew mania and all that has not worked out. So the Raiders have an opening at quarterback. There's a blank space on their bingo card. And then you look down to the Bayou. The Saints are going to have a new coach. Derek Carr will not be back in New Orleans because he stinks. And so there's a possibility Rodgers could go down, hang out in Louisiana for the final year of his career. So those are all options, and there will be more options based on people getting hurt, snap, crackle, pop, and all that, which will happen between now and the end of the season. But it's rather obvious that he will not be going back, Rodgers, to the team that wears green in New Jersey. That is not going to happen.